Hi, my loves. Welcome back to the Starscartel channel. If you don't know, I am Star. The message I heard is pull out. The scripture comes from Ezekiel 11 and 8. Hold on, what is it? You have feared a sword, and I bring in a sword against you. A declaration of the Lord Yahweh, and I have brought you out of its midst and given you into the hand of strangers, and I have done judgments against among you. Okay, so here's the message. Because what really stood out to me in this scripture, I will be real, what really is speaking to me when it pertains to this message is where God says, you have feared a sword, and I bring in a sword against you. Okay, and this is a declaration of Yahweh, of God, of the Lord. So this is someone, God is telling you, pull out. God is telling you, abort mission. God is telling you, turn away from there. God is telling you, you need to go the other way. God is telling you, don't do that. God is telling you, no. And you are basically saying to God, no, I'm going to carry on. No, I'm going to keep going this way. No, I'm going to do it anyway, even though God is telling you no, because you fear what could happen if you decide to turn away. God said, because you are ignoring his commands and because you insist on doing what he has asked you not to, now you are going to have to deal with a sword. Now you are going to have to deal with something happening. So it's kind of like this is basically a message of God saying you should not fear what could happen if you decide to do what God asked you to do. You should fear what could happen if you don't. And that's the message. God is saying because you insist on doing what God asked you not to do, because you insist on going ahead and ignoring the commands of God, that now you are going to have to deal with a sword. Like you thought, okay, you were thinking about, you were scared of the sword that you might have to experience if you decided to do what God asked you to, but instead you will have to deal with the sword that can happen if you do what God asked you not to. Okay, so if that makes sense, you know what I'm saying? Like it could mean so many things, but I'm just thinking of like this could be someone where God tells you not to go somewhere. And you are basically feeling as though you have no choice, because regardless if someone is trying to make you go to this place, or you feel like some kind of harm can come to you if you decide that you're not going to go there. And God is saying, no, don't go. And you go anyways, even knowing that God has told you not to go, even knowing that God is telling you some kind of harm can happen at you to you in this place. And you go instead, and you get to this place and you experience harm because you did not listen to God when he told you to leave at the moment that you had an opportunity to. It could also be a situation where you are somewhere and God is telling you to leave, and you hear God telling you to leave, but you ignore God telling you to leave because you feel like if you leave, some kind of harm is going to happen to you. And you decide to stay, and you stay, and then you experience something that causes you harm. You experience some kind of harm that you could have very well avoided if you would have listened to God when he told you to go in the first place. And yeah, that's the message. That is, like, I just feel like this message is basically for someone as a warning. You may end up in this predicament where you are in a situation where someone is trying to convince you to go somewhere or to stay somewhere, and you are basically hearing God tell you, no, don't go. You hear God say you shouldn't go there, but you decide to go anyway. You are going to have to deal with the consequences. Or maybe this is someone that you are dealing with some consequences. There's some kind of consequence of you going to this place. God told you not to go. You went anyway. And now you are dealing with regret or whatever kind of sword that has come upon you. And God is saying it came upon you because you didn't listen, and you didn't listen, and you didn't listen some more. You know what I'm saying? And like, and that's the message. Like, if you would have listened to God, you wouldn't have to deal with it. If you would have listened to God, you wouldn't be in that position, in that predicament, in that position, and you wouldn't have had to deal with the sword. I just feel like this is someone you would have had to deal with the sword. You feel like you would have had to deal with it regardless, but God is saying the sword that you are dealing with, it is greater, it's far greater than a sword you would have received if you didn't go, or if you wouldn't have left. Okay, and that's the message. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Deuces.